Well, anyways, it's not raining anymore, or at least at the moment it's not. So, I'm burping all the time. Always clearing out the throat. So, this is the bike that I was riding earlier in the rain. So, I'm back from my trip. Michael Storm. A ride like 20 miles. These bikes, I like to use these already, but you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna hook up this so I can play it right now. Hang on, I'm gonna put this phone. I'm throwing. Oh, it's got junk in my throat. So, put this phone here. You ever been to? Nope, not really. Right, so I'm just gonna put my phone here so I could show you guys. Just something. I don't know what I'm gonna do here. Yeah, it's like the phone got disconnected. It's getting me upset because the phone got disconnected and shit. So, well, anyways, I want to continue with this. Anyways, I wanted to show you guys this. So I could show you. Well, anyway, hopefully I can get this to work now, but yeah. Well, if it doesn't work, I'm trying to get this to work, but the switch box is broke. Figures. I don't know. Oh, these things aren't even hooked up properly. Oh, okay, now I want to play Atari. Okay, well, this one has trouble. Well, okay. I'll play a game. Okay, I want to play a game on here. Oh, is it working still? Well, anyways, this computer is supposed to be lighter than this. This TV is a little high Expo FiOD high turn. This TV is supposed to be. This TV is like a little finicky right now. It's not really working that good. After all, I had it for a long period of time. I'm the original owner of this TV, by the way. So, well, you know, my mom bought this TV in 1988. I think she paid like $188 or something. Like, hey, what's up? Love Life. Very nice. Love your 80s videos, man. Well, thank you very much. My girl. Hey, what's up? Let's see. What? You live in San Bernardino? Really? Wow. Well, you have to come over and say hi to me. Or you can come over right now and join my live. Well, anyway. Watching your videos. Very nice. So you were born in 1988, huh? Well, that's the year that I first made my very first video. That TV is as old as you. Yeah, you're right. My mom bought this TV in 1988 for, I think if I remember, we paid $189 or something like this, or something like that, because this is a remote control. Still have the original remote right here. Original stuff. Later on, I bought the TV off of my mom. I'm the original owner. Well, my mom, we are. I'm wondering if the Genesis will work. Or trying to get the Genesis to work, but I don't know what it is that's causing it not to work. Well, I would like to make it work, but that's okay. But I'll just use the Atari. Well, anyways, where do I have my Atari games? My Atari games are in here somewhere. So, okay, this is where my Atari games are. So, this is my Atari stuff. So, this Atari. Yeah, we always eat at the Michael's Burgers, huh? Oh, yeah, really? Not even. Yeah, I live right there. I mean, I live just a few houses down there, you know? What version Atari? This is the Atari 2600. Atari 2600. And I have my instructions over here. What is Atari? Oh, we have someone who's new to the 80s thing. What is Atari? Well, this is the Atari right here. It's the video game system that came out in the early 80s. Yeah, I mean, this came out in the late 70s, actually. And this is like the early version of the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. This is like the early versions of these things. So, I don't know how many of you remember, like, say, I don't know how many of you remember, like E.T. and Pac-Man. Like, these two games were big flops in the whole Atari that made it broke or something. E.T. game. Yeah, it was a game. There was an infamous game And they say that the reason why it came out to be a flop was because the makers of this game, or the programmers, came in 1982. They wanted to get it out before Christmas, so they had to hurry, hurry, hurry to make that. They had to hurry and make the game, So they made the game without exactly testing it. And so people complained about how hard it was, or that type of thing, and so they messed up. And then for Pac-Man, I heard for Pac-Man, they they messed up on purpose because they made about 12 million copies of this Pac-Man game, but they only sold like 7 million copies, and so they got screwed because they were left with 5 million old, and so they lost that. Remember that game? This was the early versions of the Xbox One, and yeah. Yeah, this was my Xbox One. This was my PlayStation 4 in 1982. Yeah. Oh yeah. Me Too says Berserk Intruder Alert. Intruder, yeah, Berserk, yeah. I didn't know that game. I have that game too. And these games here, 14-year-old kid, these well, anyway, Jenny then was calling me and stuff. So anyway, so these games are games that I've had during my years of my Xbox and PlayStation 4, But out of all these games, the game that I really love, I know this one I kind of liked it. All the games that I really love, and I also loved let me see. It's crazy how the games have changed. Yeah, oh yeah, Major Time. Another game I really loved, but one of my favorites, Vanguard. Vanguard was one of my favorites. And then and then there's Berserk. There's a Berserk game. Racers, Pac-Man, and I liked Sneak and Peek was kind of fun. Word Zapper, I loved this game. Word Zapper, Commando Raid, I loved it. This game is another game I really loved. I loved this game. Towering Inferno, and I liked Space Jockey, and I loved Sorcerer. I liked the music on the game, that's why. And then out of all games, I feel like my favorite of all games were probably these three right here. Mountain King, Solar Fox, and Tunnel Runner. I'm the original owner of these two games right here. I actually kept these games and I sold the rest, but the rest of these I re-bought. And of course, I loved Planet Patrol. This was another game I really loved. Planet Patrol. And then I loved Cosmic Arc and Star Voyager, Demon Attack. I loved that game. And Atlantis, G.I. Joe, Titan Cam, and I loved it. I would say it's probably about a total of like 10 games that I really, really loved back in my days. I really loved those games, And then this game, Atlantis, I like the sound, the music or the sounds of this game. Yeah, I gotta hear. You gotta hear the sound. I like the little effect when it's the. I like that effect. I like the sound effects. I like the sound effects on some of these games. Like the sounds like a laser, you know, like a gnarling laser. And then the explosion sound. It sounds really cool, man. So, yeah, Atari was a big thing back then, you know. Yeah, well, let me see. Did they have Crash Bandicoot? Nah, no way. They didn't have those. Not even. That's way too advanced for the Atari. Do you remember the? Do you remember in the arcade games one called Phoenix? Yeah, I'm familiarized with the name of the game, but I never played it though. Did they ever make? I'm sure they did, but I haven't. I have not paid attention though. Atari was a big deal back. Oh yeah, man, major. It was my game back then. You know, Atari. I mean that was my Xbox One, and that was my Roblox, and that was my Fortnite back then. This was my Fortnite back then. Yeah. Oh yeah. Major time. And then let's see. It's another game. I want to go play another game. Try finding another game. I don't know anything. The first person to and these games. Yeah. The trying to get a game. And then Atari. And Atari. My dad. We my dad paid my mom and my dad bought our Atari and $39 for at Zodi's. That's what he paid for it. $19. So I mean, so this was my Fortnite, as we would say. That was my Fortnite in my kid years, 1982. Yeah, wow. In 1981, it was it 1981? Yeah, it was like no, it was 1982 that. Well, it was either 1981 or 1982 that we got the Atari, our first Atari. I think it was March of 1982. We got our first Atari, our very first video game system, and you know, we loved it and stuff. I had Pong. Michael Storm said, I had Pong. It was simple enough. Yeah, I mean, Pong. I mean, it was like a whole console with just that one game built in, if you remember. I played that game before. Did you see Scarface when it hit? Well, I did not see Scarface in the theaters, but my brother rented the video and watched it there. I mean, watched it at the home at our place. So, I'm trying to think. What else should I show you in here? Yeah, I'm trying to think. What should I show you in here? Yeah, well, I'm trying to think. Or what should I share? Telling you. Need some moisture. Did I ever wish we could stay in the 90s or 80s? Well, as far as when it comes to answering that question, do I wish I could stay? Those things like that, and I remember Werewolf, those Halloween shows. I remember those, you know, for the on TV thing, you know. So yeah, well, Love Life says, yeah, I want to. Yeah, you just tell me when. Yeah, you just tell me when. It's just, it's just, we just live down the street of each other. And I still remember my mind being blown when I first got them. Yeah. Can we all remember those days when we first saw a Nintendo or even the Genesis, or or even like the Xbox One. We all get all excited to see the new stuff coming out and stuff. Well, Nintendo, I mean, had its days. Like we were like all like excited to see the brand new technology game. And back in my days, like when I first seen Nintendo and stuff. Yeah, when I first saw Nintendo, it's like I remember back at how I call it. I have to clean this lens here. I remember back in my day that we thought that we commented that this Nintendo system, or the Sega Master as well, we thought that when we would buy that, it's like bringing the arcade, literally. We used to think of it that way because that's how good the graphics were, we thought. Back in our day. Remember that? Remember we felt that graphics are so good that, I mean, what do we call it? Yeah, anyways. So what else? I'm trying to get the comments. Hang on. Ever drove a Honda CRX? No, not me. I never drove one of those before. I never drove one of the. Oh no, medical, no, McGill Cuddy said you had the robot with the original. Yeah, I remember those robot things. The Rob, they called it Rob. Remember that? But I never seen those before. But I think it only worked with certain games. I think this Rob robot thing, it only worked with a couple of games. After with the research I saw. Oh, okay. So yeah. Well, you have to come over and say what's up. Well, anyways. Yeah. Well, any of you who live near me, and you know where I'm at, because it's kind of hard to hide where I'm at, because this house is located right in the corner of a main street, and everybody knows Highland Street, Well, anyway, I mean, any of you who want to say what's up, come over and say what's up. You just chat, or you just call me on Facebook, or you just tell me, and then you just let me know, or you can even just come over, but I may be sleeping, or I don't know, whatever. Well, anyways, I have neighbors once in a while knocking at the door, so, well, anyway, yeah, so what else? This yard is looking nicer now these days, because there's no, yeah, Gilbert, yeah. I live in Vermont, but if I was closer, well, yeah, all of you at the same time need to come over and say what up. Well, yeah, that's the fun. Thank you for sharing your home videos. Well, it's a lot of fun to do that, sharing my videos. You are very welcome. Yeah. Well, it's like, I don't see why we should be hiding what we do in our lives, unless we are living like as a serial killer or something. Well, apparently I'm not one of them. Well, I am a serial killer, though, really. I am a serial killer of bugs and spiders and crickets that's in the house. Well, we don't have too many problems with bugs in our house, but roaches, shit, I used to have problems with those. Not in this house, but in another house that we used to live in, shit, I've had a lot of problems with roaches, and they're really hard to get rid of, Oh, very nice. I pray for you all the time. Very nice, and thank you for your prayers, for helping me with the prayers and stuff. Very nice. Our high school farewell videos are so, yeah, I mean, I could not. I had to make sure. Really had to make sure that I had my video camera was working before my school year was gonna end, because I mean, it's my only chance of a lifetime, and I could never go back to that time to get a chance to record the high school. So I really wanted to make sure my camera was working back then, and I'm glad I was able to get it to work and everything. Yeah, I tell you, shit, I tell you. Have you ate at the Golden Dragon? It's close to. No, I haven't eaten there. I haven't eaten there yet. Yeah. Hey, Gilbert. Thanks for your. Well, you're very welcome. Yeah, all of you, guys, are welcome. I second this. I love your old videos. They bring back. Well, yeah. I mean, it's a nice thing, isn't it? It's a nice thing, and I'm glad to be able to come up with these videos to show, because it's fun to watch things that are old. It's fun to watch them. Did you trust that guy to take your camera? Yeah, 90s. If you're talking about the 80s, like during the 80s, I did not. I did not trust, but I was too nice. That's the thing. It was something that I needed to work on myself back then. Was being too nice. I was being too nice. But on the other hand, though, I had too many people who would take too much advantage of me, and I hated that. I hated when people would take advantage of me. I mean, back over here on the hill, we deal with lots of tarantulas and coyotes. Where are you at? Love Live. What? Love Live. You just live around here, though. Well, coyotes. Well, I know coyotes, but I haven't seen a tarantula. I don't think I ever seen those in my entire life. Snakes. Do you have snakes? Unless you live in the mountains. If you're living in the mountain area, then yeah, I mean, I would think so. And let me see. Me Too says to read my post above. Let me see. Trying to find Me Too's. I don't see another post. Well, there's one right here. Well, yeah, you're saying something about the On TV. Well, yeah, I used to have On TV. Yeah. Well, we did not have Select TV, but yeah. Well, let me see. Hi, old kids, Junge. It's house. What music did I like? And well, I mean, I liked. Well, I could just give you examples. Well, I made a top 100 songs list on one of my videos the other day. But like examples of songs that I really love. It's like Starbuck. I mean, it's just mostly like normal music. It's not like dance music or anything, but I like dance music too. But examples of songs I love is like from Chicago, Beginnings, or Does Anybody Know What Time It Is? That type of music. I love it. And I also loved a song by the name of Eggplant by Michael Franks. Those are examples of things that I really love. That I really loved about. And then I loved the song, for an example. I mean, I loved, for an example, what's the name of that song? It's by Dionne Warwick. I Say a Little Prayer for You. I love things like that. And that's the type of music I like. Yeah, Shandon Hills. Love Life says that you're the Shandon Hills. Yeah, my youngster goes to that school. Shandon Hills Middle School. What I'm gonna try to catch up with others. Well, one song I really loved in 1989, around that time, is "The Promise" by When in Rome. I love that kind of music, and I loved the. There was another song I loved in around that time. Shit, I can't think of the name off the bat. It's got some good footage for you. Okay, I'm trying to see. Well, he's got some good footage. Oh yeah. Okay, I could see that you're a nice. Thank you. Well, I am for the most part. I say that I am for the most part, but I mean, it's like, of cars, I'm always going to keep my guard up for anyone who tries to wrongdo me, when I'm not doing anything to them. Or like the examples of things that will tick me off is anyone who gives me a bad label for without even knowing me first. Like for an example, like the dog, like the dog jumped the fence, and then I get a bad label that I'm not taking care of the dog, and then I get bad label. Well, what am I supposed to do if the dog jumps the fence, and then I fix the fence and stuff, but he still manages to do that, and then they give me a bad label that I'm not keeping the dog, giving me a bad. Well, those are things that will tick me off, whenever I'm being made to look bad when they don't know me yet, when they don't know me. Well, anyway, do I have a favorite band? Do I have a favorite brand? What would I say my favorite band is? Well, I mean, I don't really have a specific favorite band, but I think probably Chicago. I mean, or I liked Olivia Newton-John, Any techno mixes? Well, I do have a techno mix up on YouTube. It's from 1992. Another video I loved was you at the mechanic. Oh yeah, I remember my days, man. Shit, my school. It was kind of fun while I was there, but I just didn't like the price. Like $4,000 to be there for like 2 months. Shit. And then and then the teaching was not all that great, but I went through it anyway. Gil, did you watch Nickelodeon? Do you remember the show? Well, I know the show Nickelodeon. Well, I think my kid used to watch my sister, Cynthia. Well, we really didn't watch it, but I used to hear the TV on and I would hear Nickelodeon. Well, Nickelodeon, well, that's like they show cartoons, And I remember they sang the song, Nick, 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 Nickelodeon. Remember that shit? Remember that? Yeah, I tell ya. While you bought the bigger car, while I bought, yeah, we bought. Jenny Lynn wanted this so he could put the dog in it, because we can't put the dog in a car, it's too small. Yeah. Oh well, we have this car. I still have use of it though. Still have use of this for a truck, It looked like fun. Yeah. It looked like fun. I'm trying to think. Well, what looked like fun? Most of your mechanic skills from the other people instead. Well, you know where, in all honesty, where I got all my learning from is working on my own cars. That's where I got it from. That's where I got myself learning how to do work on cars. Is working on the cars myself and stuff. Like that's where I got most of my experience. But back then there was no online to help me. Like build. There was no forums or anything that could tell me what's wrong with a car that's doing this or that. We didn't have that back then, unfortunately. But instead, what was bad is that we had to figure it out. We had to figure out what the problem was ourselves. We had to figure it out. But today, in YouTube or today, like if we have a problem with any car, like this one, for an example, if we need to replace a power steering pump, which I need to do pretty soon, then I would have to yeah, this car's not bad, huh? I had to. Since I have to replace a power steering pump on this car, I have to, it's easy to just go to YouTube and figure out how they do it so we don't have to figure it out. That's what's nice about today. But back then, when we didn't have YouTube, we had to kind of figure out how to do it, You had to figure out, back then. So it was kind of tough. I'm going inside because I have to, charge. I have to put my phone in the charger. Hang on. Hang on, I need to get my shit. Well, anyways. Shit. I have to get the charger before the phone dies. Hang on. Yeah, hang on. I'm gonna try to catch up with the comments, but I need to get this portable charger here. Yeah, this one's fully charged. I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna use this portable charger here before the phone dies. Shit. Nice. Now I don't have to worry about my phone dying. Slow charging. Well, I mean, I'm hoping that my phone will be good with this for now. Because I don't want to be inside the house because the lighting is not that great. Well, anyways, now to catch up with the looks. Hang on. So you learn most of your mechanics, yeah, from people. Well, from anyway, from figuring out myself. But I've been working on my own car for 30 years. Something. Yeah, the phone, the battery died, and I guess the charger was not good enough to charge the battery. Well, you guys are all good, right? I hope so. It's true. Hang on. Trying to catch up here. Yeah, so you learn most of your... Don't you think that Daryl Hall and John Oates were underrated? Well, I mean, I'm neutral on that because, I mean, I liked their music, you know. I mean, I like their music, you know. And I also... Is your Mercury clean? Yeah, you could see it. My car is really clean right now. So, what else? I'm trying to get the comments. Hang on. But these comments disappear, and then I can't read them because they disappear. Hang on. Ah, there it is. So, looks nice. Well, thank you. The cars, I always like to keep them as nice as I can, you know. I mean, my car, I like everything nice, you know, like everything clean, you know. I like everything to be neat, you know. Well, my cars and stuff, you know. Yeah, you can get any answer to any question on YouTube these days. Well, yeah, I mean it's what I'm saying, you know, because that's the beauty of today's technology. Apparently, you know, I mean, it's like whenever we have a problem with today, whenever we have a problem with anything on the car or whatever, anything, like if we want to know how to place a faucet in the kitchen or whatever, we just go to YouTube and we get somebody, you know, we could see a video on how to do it. But back then in the 80s, there was no such thing. We had to figure out how to do it, or we had to go around looking for somebody who knows how to do something like that, you know. See, that's the thing. That's the thing that I don't exactly miss about the 80s on that part, you know. Hang on. And what's another thing that the stream came back because the phone, my phone died. That batteries died. Yeah, used to. Ever heard of the US Festival in the Divorce? No, I never heard of that. I mean, yeah, I'm trying to see what else. Yeah, stream off. Looks. What else? I mean, what? I know, like the 80s, like during the 80s, because all I could say is like it was indeed during the 80s that for the example, I mean, and then not only that, I mean, it's a lot of things that's nice about today compared to the 80s when it comes to technology stuff, you know, when it comes to technology and stuff. I tell you, I mean, it's nice today, I mean, but the 80s was nice in the sense where it was fewer people and people seemed a little bit more nicer and then people people had fewer choices of people to choose from in bars, you know, because there was no Facebook, you know, that type of thing. My favorite video from you, let's see. Okay, something went happen. I don't know what happened. Oh. Okay, well, anyway. Hello, lad. Hello, Polly Woof. Any more, any more 80s ads? Well, I mean, I didn't record a lot of those back then. Because it just didn't come to my attention. It did not come to me to think of. I didn't think of doing that back then, you know. Because I felt that they were boring to look at back then, you know. But now I regret. I regret it now. Do you feel like the sky was blue in the 80s, in the 90s, and well, I mean, I think so. I mean, I think, but I think it was probably about the same. I think it was probably about the same. Maybe it was a little bit more. Well, I think we had complaints about like the air looking smoggy, but I think it's about the same. Maybe feel like it was about the same. But the thing is, I mean, it was fewer people living in. It was fewer people living in my area, L.A. in the 80s, though, during that decade. You know, it was fewer people. But, you know, the cars, though, I mean, they had carburetors back then and stuff. So, what else? My bad. My bad. Something happened. I love your 1980 2-hour video. I truly think it's one. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Huh? Like, you're talking about the high school graduation or the video when I graduate or when I left the school. Yeah. I mean, that was like the best tape I ever made. I mean, it was like the best memory tape I made. You know, like something that. I mean, I was so happy to be able to make that tape too, you know, because I was going to be out of school forever and ever. And so I was never going to get a chance. So I was so freaking happy to be able to make that tape for that time, you know. And I'm so happy to be able to share it out in the world too. Yeah, I tell you, in this video, there was a lot of sunset in the video. Well, I mean, yeah. Well, yeah. Pollution. It's been a complaint ever since the beginning of time, you know. What was the first computer PC you bought and what version on Windows? Well, if you're talking about the modern computer, I bought in 2004, my first computer. It was a E-Machines 2004. And it was a Windows XP. And this computer had 80 gigabyte hard drive and it had like 512 megabytes of RAM. And then it had like it had 2.8 gigahertz, and which was pretty good. It was actually pretty good for being an older computer back then, you know. So, well, back then, you know, I mean, that computer did well, you know, it did quite well. It did its job really well, you know. What do we call it? What else? XP. Well, yeah, that was Windows XP. And then later on, I got a Windows Vista computer. I actually liked Vista better than the XP because it was a little bit more easier to use. But, I mean, a lot of people complained about Vista, and I'm not sure why people complained about Vista. Think probably laggy or whatever it was, but I had never had a complaint about Vista because I actually liked that operating system better. I mean, it was a little more easier to use, a more simplified, you know. It was a smart move to oh yeah, I mean, it's what I love to do, you know. I love making videos. I love to do that, you know. It's just in me, you know. It's just built into me, you know. It's a smart move. Do you have any Star Wars figures? Well, you know, I was never into that, collecting Star Wars, or I was never into the Star Wars stuff, you know. Well, I know my cousin Jose was, sort of, but even then, he was not that much into that stuff, you know. The only figure I ever had was like a Batman, and I was like 3 or 4 years old, you know. I tried Vista and the shortcuts. Hotkey didn't work as well, huh? I mean, a lot of people complained about. Like, we had so many complaints about Vista that it was actually a popular thing for people to downgrade or to go to reboot their computer with XP. Yeah, a lot of people did that back then, you know. But for me, I never complained about it. I actually liked the Vista better because it was more simplified. Or did you like the 70s? Well, I mean, I was a little kid in the 70s. I used to have the banana seat bike. I had the I had this Super MX banana seat bike. You know, when I first learned, I was 9 years old when I first got that bike. Yeah, the 70s was fun. I mean, well, you know what? We did a lot of visiting friends and we did a lot of playing outside back then. And then if we were home, we would watch TV, you know, and that's all we had back then, you know. Yeah, I tell you, I remember those days. Yeah, it was kind of fun, you know. You know, the 70s was nice because we either played with friends, we either played with neighbors, we either played with them, like played hopscotch, or I mean, we used to play like hide and go seek, or all you name it, and we played it. You know, we used to. I mean, hopscotch. I mean, hide and go seek, or police, fireman, police. You know, remember that stuff when we used to play that stuff? You know, cops and robbers, and with our big wheels. You know, we big wheels was very common back in the 70s. You know, I remember those days. You know, shit, I tell you. I mean, those days, I kind of, I loved those. I loved my childhood life, you know, and my, like with the big wheels and stuff, you know. I mean, it was very common. It was popular back then, you know. Have you ever played Cruis'n USA? Yeah, that's a Nintendo 64 game, right? Yeah, I used to, I mean, I had that game before. I mean, but I didn't play it that much, but I did buy that game, though, and for the Nintendo 64. Did you ever frequent AOL chat rooms? No, I never used to do chat rooms. No. Yeah, not, yeah, the chat rooms you're talking about. It's kind of like what we do now, Facebook, sort of, but it's not. You know, the chat rooms when chatting was pretty new, or it was pretty new and people would try to hit up on a date through those chat rooms. You know, well, I mean, it was like for some people it was an opportunity to try to hit up or to try to. I mean, and then it created controversy with the pedophiles and stuff, you know, like trying to hit up on young teenager girls, you know, back then. Remember that shit? Well, I mean, but now, it's not. You can't do things like that because you're gonna get caught now. I mean, but back then, you know, when chatting was new, I mean, let me see. Yeah, well, I had AOL. I mean, back in 2004, my first web browser was AOL. I mean, and I still have that account to this day. Still have it right now. But I use Google Chrome right now. Did it rain hard there? Oh, you're talking about right now. I mean, yeah, it rained hard today. I mean, today it did. And we haven't had a day like this in a long time here, you know. Shit, I mean, we haven't had that day here in a long, long time. Shit. I mean, I miss the days that we used to get that a lot here and there, you know, but it doesn't happen anymore these days. It doesn't happen as much. Rain doesn't have. Good night. Good night, Ronaldo 17. Ah, so it must be nighttime where you're at then. Well, it's nighttime right now. Well, are you working? Are you? Well, working. Well, I'm not working at the moment. I'm still a stay-at-home dad. And but you know, I mean, I'm waiting until Jenny Lynn is ready for me to go back to work. You know, I'm ready. I'm waiting. I'm ready to go back to work, but just want to see about. I want to see if I can find opportunities first before I commit to just any job right now. You know, but you know, I cannot really commit to any good job. Because I mean, I'm not gonna be able to I won't be reliable because of Jenny Lynn. I mean, Jenny Lynn. I mean, because she's like the boss. Well, anyway, have a seat. Oh yeah, I remember like the shit. Yeah, I would hate to be those guys that that were playing with the law like that. I mean, like I tell you, Chris Hansen, huh? Oh man, that's funny. Now that's something that it would be beyond my wildest dreams to ever think of doing anything like that. But I mean, never had any interest in dating sites of any kind, back then, even though I never had much interest in those, any kind of a dating site, like, because we get a lot of flakes, there's a lot of flakes back. Well, I didn't do much of that back then because I didn't have it available for me back then. But anyway, even with the weather was nice back then, and well, yeah, it was nice. I mean, the weather. I mean, we had a lot of rain, and we had a lot of rain, so the grass would rarely be brown. It would rarely be brown. What's your all-time favorite? My all-time favorite sitcom. It's gonna be how you call it, what's happening. What's happening is, you know, what's happening is the name of that show, and that's my favorite all time that I know of, and I can't think of any others off the bat. But I mean, that's the only one that I know of that I really loved. Gilbert, you mentioned you have a cousin named Jose. Does he happen to be a? Nah, he's not a physician. Well, I mean, he's my cousin. He's a he lives in Arizona at the moment. Jose Sandoval is his name. What is your favorite video store to rent to VHS tape? Well, I mean, video store. I mean, I didn't have a specific video store. I just went to any store that was close by. Yeah. Opinions on Chicago. If you're talking about the singer, if you're talking about the state, well, I haven't been to Chicago, but if you're talking about the singer, I love Chicago. I love their music. It's one of my favorites. I especially love the song "Beginnings" from Chicago. Do I own an 8-track player? I'm not sure if I do or not, but I don't think I do. But actually, I really honestly don't think I have an 8-track player. But I used to. But I mean, since I rarely played 8-tracks, I just stopped using them. I just stopped playing. I just stopped owning 8-track players. Yeah, I only do cassettes. Well, anyways. So what else? So I'm trying to think back in my nights. Hang on, I'm gonna check my batteries. I have 17%. And what does your sister think about your age? Well, I mean, my sister hates the way she acted back then. Do I did I watch a lot? Well, as a kid, yeah. As a kid for Sesame Street shows, I used to hate. I mean, when I was a little kid, 3 years old, 3, 4 years, I hate. I wanted to kick Cookie Monster's ass. I wanted to kick his ass. And then because I hated Cookie Monster because of the mean things that he used to do. When I was a kid. Like. Well, he used to eat. Well, it was not only cookies that he would eat. He would eat anything. He would eat whatever he finds lying around in the room. Like he would eat radios, or he would eat anything. Like radios or just anything. And then on one particular show, like when someone had a radio and this Cookie Monster like decided to have it for lunch, and then the radio stopped working, and then I got mad at him for doing that. I tell you, man, I remember that. But anyway, Sesame Street. Well, I did not. I mean, I did watch those. I mean, I liked watching the Sesame Street, but it's like for me, it's funny because it was like some of the characters that I hated that added, or I just didn't like how some of those characters acted. As a kid, that's funny. I'm all saying that when I was a kid. Well, anyway, I mean, so what else? What's the most expensive drone? What's the most expensive drone? Well, I mean, If I plan on buying a drone, I think if I plan on buying any new ones, it'd probably be either a DJI Spark. But I think it would only go as far as the DJI Spark, and that's a $400 drone, But I own a DJI Phantom 3 Professional, and 3 years ago I bought that one for $750 used, and it was $1,000 brand new back then, but I bought it used for $750. We love your sister. Thank you, Gilbert. Love your videos. Your video of the good old, yeah, oh yeah, I mean, you are very welcome. You are very welcome. Do you play modern day gaming systems? Well, not too much. My kids do. My kids apparently are. I just would like to watch my kids play the Xbox One. We have an Xbox One right now. So, I mean, well, but the thing is that we're not even really playing any of the modern games. We're just playing games like Slime Rancher or Roblox, I mean, my kids love that game. And then they're playing a little bit of Fortnite. But I think my kid is more into Roblox. Or, I mean, they're into Roblox. Or, my kid loves Minecraft. They're not even really playing any of the modern day games, And even me too. I mean, I used to, just in the last few years, I was playing a little bit of the modern games like Camille for the Xbox, for an example. But I just don't really have much. I'm not really that much into them anymore. I'm not really that much, although as much as I want to be. But, but I mean, I just don't have the thrill for playing games as much anymore. Not even the old school games. I got kind of bored of games. I'm an older guy now, but but I could. Did I watch Knight Rider? Yes, I used to watch that show, and I liked that show, sort of. I mean, I liked it. I mean, especially the car. I liked that car, and I dreamed to have a car. I mean, I came across someone who had a car that looked just like the Kit, driving down the street, and I was wanting that car. I wanted to have that car, Has anyone ever wanted to make a documentary about you and your 80s? Well, I don't think I have anyone wanting to do that as of now, but I know I've had some people asking me if they can use my videos, and I say okay. I mean, yeah, I mean, I had someone asking me if they can use my videos to make a movie, or well, like Defiant Ones. It's a movie called Defiant Ones that in the last couple of years I had someone asking me if they could borrow some of my video to include it in that show. It's on the HBO show. And I said, yeah, I mean, I'm more than welcome to use my videos, I do get that here and there. I mean, you guys can use my videos as far as I'm concerned, I mean, all I can ask is just say credit me, I mean, that's all I ask, but I mean, it's like I'm not really concerned about anybody stealing videos from me, because my videos are one of a kind, I mean, if they're gonna see a 90s video or an 80s video, like a home movie, and then they suddenly get interested in watching old home movies, my videos are pretty much almost the only ones that pop up. Because, I mean, that's why I'm not really worried about it, because I'm one of a kind, there's only one of me out there, and it's only my videos that ever really seem to show up. So that's why I'm not really worried about people using my videos, without even asking me. I'm fine, but just just let me know. I mean, what is your favorite year you lived in? My favorite year, it was like the mid 80s. I think 1984, for some reason. 1984 was one of my most memorable. Well, 1984 through 86, I think, were some of my most memorable years of my entire life, because it just was straight out fun. All the music, and in 1986, when Noe, my next door neighbor, like when he was a DJ, and then he had all this really cool ass music. I remember all the music Back then, that was a very memorable year. 1986 was very memorable for me. Yeah, that's the answer to that question. Do you think Daryl Hall and Jokes are underrated? Well, like I said, I was actually kind of neutral on that. I like their music. I like the song. Family Man, I think it's called. I like the song. A very memorable song is what's the name of that song to do with the Man Eater? Man Eater. That's a very memorable song. I liked that song. It's a very memorable song from Holly Notes. That's Holly Notes, right? No, Man Eater. That's well. Who didn't like Knight Rider back then? Back in the day, well, I don't even know. I don't think I knew anyone who did not like that show. Baywatch. Don't hassle the Huff? Well, Baywatch, I never really looked at that show. I think it's to do with the Beach Channel or something like, where the shows take place in a beach or something, obviously. But I never got into those shows. Do you shop at the Family Dollar? Yes, I do. I buy my little snacks there, here and there. I just walk 2 seconds. I could jump this fence and I'm there already. For a quick meal, like a quick TV dinner or something. Yeah, I just go there. Chaka Khan in 1984. Chaka Khan. Well, Shaka Khan, I liked that song in 1984. That was a popular song, Shaka Khan. That's a memorable song, too. That's a memorable song. What was your favorite new wave band from the Thompson Twins, maybe? Well, is that a new wave band? I don't know. Well, new wave band, well, I liked Culture Club, but not that much. But how was your year? If I was gonna give a quick rating, hip hop says, how was your year 1988? Well, if I'm gonna say a quick answer to that question, is how well did I like that year? 1988. Well, 1988. It was a pretty good year. I mean, well, I had my scooter. Yeah, no, it was a good year. As far as I know, it was a good year. But '89 was not. Well, '89 was a good year too. But the first half of the '89 was not, because of all the things that kept happening. Like my camera broke, and I didn't get the charger until the end of the middle of the year. But 1988, it was a pretty good year. I liked that year as far as I'm concerned. Although, yeah. But if we're talking about like how people treated me back then, I think it was okay. It was just average. 1989 was about the same. I liked it. But going on to the 90s, I started liking life a little bit better. Going on to the 90s because well, for certain aspects, like the aspects of financial, and and then buying things that I've always wanted. Like, well, in the '90s, that's when camcorders started getting cheaper and cheaper. So I had the opportunity to buy those really nice things that I couldn't buy in the '80s because it was just too damn expensive. Because in the '80s, I complained about these electronics being too damn expensive. Like especially the video camera, $1,000 for a fucking camera. But I had to live with that. Sadly. But going into the '90s was a better year when it comes to the aspect of being able to buy the stuff we want. Because what is my favorite type of music? Peggy Hill asks. Do I remember the breakdance era? Hip hop. It's House asked. Yep, and Duran Duran. Don't You Want Me, Baby? I liked that song too. That was an early '80s song. Do I remember break? Well, yeah. I mean, 1984 was it peaked in my area. The 1984 was like the peak year for breakdancing, and that was a memorable year for me. I mean, the boom boxes and the break in one and well break in and break in two electro boogaloo albums. I love the music. I tell you, the music was great then. Ghostbusters when the about the time when the movie Ghostbusters came out, and yeah, it's a very memorable year. Then remembering the boom boxes and stuff. Did you ever have a lowered Nissan truck in the 80s? Well, I never owned a Nissan truck, but my brother did, though. Hector is his name. He owned a blue, like a small blue pickup truck, a Nissan. He bought it brand new in 1989. The 1989, and I have a video up there, too. So he bought he bought it brand new, but he lost it like 2 years later because he could not because he was messing up on the bill and stuff. So that, and someone said, Patrick says that. Okay. Well, anyway, what was better, Circuit City or The Good Guys? Hip hop is asking me. What was better? Well, I mean, I liked going to Circuit City back in my days. I bought my camcorder. I bought my VHS camcorder at Circuit City. Somehow I kind of liked their selection better. I mean, but like the Good Guys. Well, I didn't know about them until like the '90s. But the Good Guys, I never really bought anything from them. But I felt like I liked Circuit City better for some reason. Parachute pants in the 80s. Yes, I remember parachute pants, and I was actually wanting a pair of those too, and I actually liked those things. I wanted to use those. I wanted to wear those things. In the 80s. And in fact, if I could come around those, I would buy them right now, and I would be wearing parachute pants because I like those kind of things. I like those type of things. Even right now. Even right now. I remember the parachute pants. Yeah, I tell you, I remember those. And then, shit. Yeah, I tell you, parachute pants. What was your favorite 80s movie? Breakfast Club, Rocky? Well, if I had a favorite 80s movie, that's a good question. Well, I had a lot of movies. I know I liked Popeye. I remember Popeye. And then, what else do I know? Superman, I guess. I think it was probably Superman. Or Superman 3 or Superman 2, I think. Probably. I would have to say. What was your favorite? Okay, what's one thing from the 80s that you wish still existed today? Okay. Peggy Hill asks that question. What is one thing that I wish from from the 80s that I wish existed today? I mean, what? You know what? I'm gonna think about that. And I probably might even make a video based on your comment there, Peggy Hill. Cause that's a good one. What's one thing from the '80s that I wish existed today? Well, I have to give it a thought, and I probably might make a video based on that vlog about that. Next question is by Robbie C. I love the videos of while you were in class when you're. Oh yeah, I mean I tell you, it was like the best video. Yeah, thank you. I was so happy to be able to make that tape back then because it was a great memory. It was like the best memory of my life. Do you still eat at Sizzlers today? Yes, I do. I still eat there, here and there. Whenever we do. But it's more like Danny's or Chili's or we still eat there, Chili's and we like to eat though. That's expensive, but we still you like to go to Golden Corral. How's the temperature in California? Well, right now it's kind of cold. It's like 50 degrees right now, and it rained today. I don't think it's gonna rain in the next week now. Today was a rainy day, or in the last few days. Patrick is asking. Greg says, what were your thoughts on Public Enemy and NWA back in the late 80s? I thought they were great. Well, Public Enemy. I don't think I really paid much attention to that to the music there. I mean I'm neutral on that, or I didn't hear it to be able to give a what did I think. But I think it. I mean I probably wouldn't have. I mean it's just not something I really was real total fan of. Rock music. I'm not. Not in all honesty, I'm not a fan of like super heavy metal or rock music, or just I like music that sounds like that's like soothing. Well, I just the example of music I like, it's like like Chicago Beginnings, or anybody know what time it is. I mean those are examples of types of songs I like. You know. Okay, bye. By High Grace R asks or says, I saw one of your videos where your brother was talking about the Bible with your dad on his explanation of salvation. Yeah, I mean my brother did that. He was into the Bible. That was in 1993. By the way, I mean I think he probably must have saw a video from 1993 or 94, one of those years. My brother was really into the Lord back then, but right now he's not too much into the Lord. I am though. I'm 110% with the Lord, and if anybody's gonna ask me if I'm a believer, well, I'm 110% believer of the Lord God, and I am into the Bible, and I am into the Lord God and everything. I'm 100% into the Lord. Now, old kids, John, hey Peggy, this is Bill. Well, anyway, this is Bill. Oh, well, anyway, then by High Grace R. Says Hank Hill. Hank Hill, huh? Trying to read all of you guys. Best food is made at home. Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I would agree because we could cook it the way we want, and it's generally cheaper to cook at home. Yeah, I'm trying to eat more at home, but I mean, it's kind of a pain in the butt to cook sometimes. But I like to cook at home, though. Me Too is asking me, do I remember an electronic store called Federated? Yes, I do. I know that store. And this apartment, yeah, I mean, I know those stores. Federated Group. It was like a stereo shop, or like a electronic shop, like TVs and VCRs and stereo equipment. But I kind of felt like I knew them for their stereos, like shelf stereos, or home stereo systems. And I remember those. The rack systems. And then what else? Federated, yeah, I remember those. Gemco. I mean, that Gemco is sort of like it was sort of like a Walmart, sort of. Gemco. I never really bought anything there, but remember FedMart? Remember FedMart? Well, that was another Gemco. And Zodi's. Remember those two stores? I mean, I bought all my stuff there, all of my electronics there back then. Oh, wow, thanks. Thank you very much. Wow, that's very good to hear. Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I'm 100%, And there's nothing that can change that, too. Rob C says, do you still have the other videos of you while you were in class of that hadn't that? Well, I think I posted everything up there. I only have videos from 1988 and 1989. I have my high school in 1988, and I do have a significant amount too. But I mean, that's everything I had, though. That's everything I had. So, does your family ever visit? Yeah, I get visitors here and there. I mean, my mom and I visit them, here and there. Yeah, we do. What is your all-time favorite video game? Well, I mean, if you're talking about, if we're talking about all the generations, I have a lot. But if it's the Atari, it's gonna be like Solar Fox and Tunnel Runner. And if it's for the Nintendo, the regular Nintendo, probably Mario 3 and Mega Man 2 or 3 or whatever. It was those two off the bat that I can think. And then for the Genesis, I loved, and my favorite probably was Insector X. And I loved, there was another game I really loved. Well, I know Insector X, I loved that game. And then I loved DJ Boy. And then, and then I loved E-SWAT. I mean, those are probably some of my favorite games ever. And then if we're talking about the Nintendo 64, I loved this game on Nintendo 64, Bad Fur Day. I loved that game, man. And I loved Rayman, that game, Rayman. Shit, I love that game, man. And I also loved, one game I really loved in uh, um, Nintendo 64, it was Glover. I loved that game, really loved that game. Shit, tell ya. Me to my foundation in the Christ, the old King James. That's good. That's nice to hear that from you. How did you like living in Corona? Well, I liked it. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I had no complaints about that town. I liked it. I mean, what what is it? My dream job? Well, Patrick is asking me what is my dream job. Well, I mean, if I was gonna have a dream job, well, when I was 80s, during the 80s, we're talking about the 80s, I wanted to try to get a job as a mechanic, but I was never able to, despite of trying hard. But if we're talking about right now, I think a job that I sort of like is any kind of a job that's to do with interacting with people, like customers, like, I don't know, that's just my take. It could be like anything, and it doesn't have to be anything that pays good. I mean, I just like a job doing something I like to do. I don't care about the pay, because I mean, what's more important in my thought is doing something that we like to do rather than the pay. But I think like maybe like a job where we come in dressed up nice, like an office or something, like any sort of job where we can come in dressed up nice and interact with customers. That, I mean, I felt like those are kind of jobs that I've always felt that I liked. Just interacting with people. Did you ever play the original Sega? Yes, I did. Yeah. Well, not that particular game, but well, the California games. But well, my Jose had that Sega Master System. I love that game too. I mean, it was Astro Warrior. We love that game, Astro Warrior. Shit, that was a game. That game, I love that game. You can buy uh, Super NES with over 800 games on it for, yeah. I mean, I guess they do sell those now these days, and they're all built in too, huh? That's pretty cool. I mean, I never really had thoughts about buying one of those, but I mean, but the problem with those things is that like those a lot of times when they have these built-in games on the Nintendo Classics or whatever, the Atari Classics, whenever they have these built-in games, very rarely they have all the games that we want. It's very rare. I mean, because they always have these games that we don't like. Like they don't have these games that we used to play, that we want to play. I mean, most of them will be like that. How did you like live? Well, let me see. What was it? I'm a taxi driver in hike. You're a taxi driver, huh? Palmdale. That's my brother lives in Lancaster. A taxi driver is like not an Uber though, right? Yeah, I was doing a little Uber before. No more though. Have you ever gone to eat at Clenham's? Well, no. No, I never have. It's in Covina. No, I never have. I never been there. Jason Olston asks. So 201 BJE is asking, did you ever own a Commodore 64? Well, no, I never had a. It's only an Atari 800 XL computer that I had. But I wanted the Commodore back then. I wanted a Commodore, but sadly we didn't get it though. I wanted a Commodore, but my dad and my mom got me the Atari. But I was happy with it. But I wish that we would have gotten a Commodore because that was what was popular back then. I didn't own but later on I bought one and then I sold it. It was like it was just a fun to do thing. Let me see. Did you ever own? Well, let me see. Mega 64 California games. Yeah, I'll try. I'll try. I live in Lancaster. Oh, you live in Lancaster, huh? Yeah, my brother, Hector, lives in Lancaster. Very nice. So, anyways, my phone. I wonder if my phone is getting charged now. Let me see. My phone has 55% now. So, what else? I'm just gonna go walk around in this garage. The Patrick says you have the mini classic edition with a couple of games built in, but it's really nice. Well, yeah, I know those classic things. They have the Super NES and the regular NES. Pretty nice. You know that restaurant you're talking about? Yeah, that one restaurant you were just talking about. Yeah. No, I never had. I never been there before. Covina. Well, Covina is a nice place, I would say, but it's expensive too to buy a house there. Sadly. I mean, do you keep in touch with some of your classmates? Yeah. Well, as of today, I've been now, but but it was not before last year. Before last year, I lost all touch. But it was just in the last year when I posted up that video for high school, for the high school. That's when I started. That's when the people started coming up to get in touch with me. And I got in touch with a few people already. And they're on Facebook. They're on my Facebook now. I do talk to them here and there. It's not like something that doesn't really do much. Apparently, I did not have a close friend, really. I didn't have too many close friends, apparently, because I was not popular. I was not popular in any way back then, because, because I was not a troublemaker or anything, because it would seem like people that were obnoxious were the popular ones. But apparently I just wasn't one of them. So I didn't I didn't even really get in touch with anybody until just last year. In fact, last year was the first time I came across someone that I knew in high school. Last year, it was only last year. It was the first time that I came across. And this guy's name is Noel Scott. Yeah. That was the first person, I believe. What do your classmates think of you, Sean? Well, they love it. They're very happy to see the video. They love it. They're astonished to see the video. I tell you, they love it. They love that. They're all like, they think they just say that's really cool that you made this video there. That's so cool. They praise me for that, for the being on the video, because, and you can tell, you could say one reason why, because it's one of a kind, I'm the only one who's ever done anything like that in my school. Only one back then. Well, some people did, but some people had actually rented video cameras, in my time. Other people did too, but they didn't record as much as me. Well, anyway, you recorded this when you were young. Did you ever think that they would become this popular? Well, no, I never, I never really thought. I never came to thinking that it would. Well, I mean, I felt that it would get my family and my immediate family, you know. But never thought it would. I would never. I never had imaginations that it would go this far, you know. Yeah, with the technology and stuff, you know. And I feel like these videos are becoming more popular these days. I mean, I have like the older they get, the more valuable they become. Apparently, you know, and that's what's unique. That's what's unique about these things, you know, about the videos that I have. Because the older they get, the more valuable they become. Yeah, I mean that's unique. That's what I like, you know, because it's yeah, and I bet a lot of people wish they could see videos. Yeah, I mean, well, I can understand. I can understand that point there. Like you would bet you would have a lot of people wish they could have seen videos of them back then. You know, yeah. I mean, it's understandable, you know, to see why they would wish because back then it was just too expensive to buy a video camera. Back then, you know, very few people had the money to buy those things, you know, because of my complaint about these electronics being so damn expensive to buy, you know, like shit, you know, and then the wages were shitty too, you know, back then, you know. Am I running? Oh no, am I running? The Windex man is asking me, am I running out of videos? I don't think so. I have a lot. I still have a lot. There's no worry about that, man. I have a lot, man. It is so funny to see that you're filming in your high school and nobody really cared a lot. Yeah, they did back then. You know, people didn't care. I mean, if anything, people wanted to be on the camera. They wanted to walk in front of the camera because they wanted to be on the camera. If anything is the opposite today than it was back then. You know, it's like, but now today, you know, people get offensive if you're making a video of them. But back then, when I had my video camera, shit, I had people wanting to be in the video. Yeah, yeah, back then. It's so yeah. I mean, does Hector and your other brother like the? Oh yeah. I mean, they love watching my videos. I mean, they think my videos are really cool because it gives them an insight. It gives them an insight on how they looked or how they acted and everything. It gives them an insight. You know, that's what they like. That's what they think is fun for them to. And then even my mom too, my whole family. You know. I've heard that arcades were generally very shady places in the 80s. Well, I don't know. I don't know much of the answer to that because I mean, shady place. Well, I mean, because I did not used to go to arcades much because I didn't have money. I did not have 25 cents. I didn't have pockets of full of quarters to spend. You know, because I was a young kid. You know, I mean. Yeah, because we used to think that spending a quarter to play a game and playing several games throughout the day was a waste of money. You know, well, we weren't that rich back then, so arcades was not something that we did a lot of back then. But we did here and there, though. I mean, I did not do a lot of arcades, but my brothers did arcades more. But I could not answer that question because I don't know. Well, I probably were, you know, they probably were, you know, but. I mean, let me see. Gail has many more videos. Yeah, I have a lot. I still have a lot, especially the '90s. I have a ton of '90s to go, and and if you thought that the '90s was all I had, shit, I have. I mean, I'll be doing this for the rest of my life, you know, pretty much, because that's how many videos I have. You know, I mean, I have that many videos for 2000s and 90 going, and then if it's not 90s, I have a bunch of 2000s, and even like in the last 9 years, going up to 2019. But well, those are not valuable right now. But I mean, 20 years from now, videos of 2019 will be valuable. You know, I would say. Do you think that Earth would? Well, when I was a kid, by High Grace is asking me, do you I think the Earth is flat? Well, I already know that the Earth is round. The Earth is round. I mean, well, when I was a young kid, I used to think it was flat. You know, And I used to trip out on the Earth, like because like the USA, where I am, because like this is the North Pole, this is the South Pole, and then the ball, and then I used to think that I used to think that like the USA, like when the USA is being located like on this part, and the North Pole's up here, North Pole here, and then USA. I used to think that we should actually be like this, but it always tripped me out as a kid that why we're standing straight if USA is like tilted like this, and then how come we're standing straight if we're even at Antarctica where the South Pole is at? Yeah, that would be a trip because the planet where we would be literally upside down on Earth, but yet we still stand straight like this. Well, anyway, let me see. I'm gonna look at. Do you think that the Earth will? What's up, Gil? Hey, what's up, Bazooka Joe? Old kids, John. Let me see. I see now. It's a nightmare where you are too. Nightmare? Yeah. Nightmare. What? But anyway, laugh out loud. What was your favorite '80s TV show? TV show. I mean, I think it was. Well, I said it earlier. I liked What's Happening. TV show. I don't know if there was any others. But I think it was just the cartoons. Just of course the cartoons. But Yanni or Laurel. Well, I'm familiarized with Yanni. Laurel, I'm familiarized. Well, Yanni sings like instrumental songs. Yanni's okay. I mean, I guess. Uh, Pollywolf, no RK, and I was shady. Okay, well, I guess one of you is chiming in on a question about the arcades being shady. Yeah, I don't know. Well, anyway, did I ever go to Bell Gardens, California? Nah, I never went there. I mean, I never been to that city, or at least not that I know of, anyway. I mean, flat like a snow globe platform. Well, well, I don't know, like snow globe. Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, I could not. Well, I know that the Earth was round. Well, anyway, snow globe platform. Well, no, I never used to think flat. You know, mine was chips. Laugh out loud. Nighttime. Nightmare. Night cinema. Nighttime NKT Nightmare. Oh yeah? Not. Oh. Oh, okay. It was a typo, or your phone must have auto corrected. That becomes a nuisance sometimes, huh? Okay, I know. Okay, let's go back to your question now. I see that it's nighttime now. Yes, it is. It's night now. I got night now. It's nighttime now. Yeah. Yeah, it is nighttime. It's nighttime. Yeah, see, I've been on this. I've been doing this live for how long now? Like an hour and a half now. A-Team. Yeah, I remember A-Team. A-Team, definitely. Night Rider, right? I mean, Night Rider. I used to watch those, but I was never really that much into them. But I like your video in the 2000s. Yeah. Since I was born in 2000. Yeah, well, 2000s, I mean, 2000s was pretty unique compared to the 80s because, I mean, all the technology was pretty new. It was really good going on to that time. And then I had the 1080p. Okay, well, I didn't get my first 1080p camcorder until 2008. And I didn't go digital. I didn't go with the mini DVs until middle 2000s. Did you know that there's gonna be a Ghostbusters 3 in 2020? No. Well, I guess I do now. I do now. Anyone remember the garbage pail? Yeah, the garbage pail kid. Remember those? Shit, totally, man. Remember the cards? It was these cards that we used to buy. I think they had some of those. It was like trading cards. I remember that. Yeah, yeah. I used to get a kick out of some of those cards, you know. Like there was one card that had a kid throwing up, and it's like he flooded the whole city with his barf. That was too funny, man. Those crazy things that they come up with, like Barf Illustrated, yeah, like magazine, Barf Illustrated, and like or like there's a card that where the guy where one of the kids they removed his shoes and thousands cried or something. I remember that. Oh man, those things. Hi Gilbert. Me too said hi Gilbert. Do you have an opinion on the Mandela effect? Do you know what the well, I don't know exactly what that word Mandela. I have to research what that is. Mandela, whatever that is. But you tell me. I don't know. I don't know exactly what that means. Mandela effect. I have to research that because that's a new one for me. So, what is your favorite car brand? Well, car brand. I like. Let me see. Well, put it this way. If I was gonna go out and buy a car right now, if I had to go buy a car, I would go buy a Camaro. I would go get a Camaro. But if it's gonna be just any no, if I had to start all over again with a car, I would honestly just go get a Kia. And I mean, I have a Kia Rio. I mean, the my favorite car brand. I mean, I think it just I like Honda or Kia. I mean, I like the Kia. I mean, Kia and stuff. If I had to do it again, it would be Kia, or it would be a Honda or Toyota. I'd probably do Toyota maybe. Well, I think Toyota. We see too many Toyotas. Like I think I like Honda or Kia or Hyundai, but I think I like Kia though. I mean, Kia. I mean, I'm hearing that Kia are pretty good cars now. I mean, they were shitty cars before. I mean, and I know. I mean, they were shitty cars before, but no more. I mean, they're not so bad anymore. I mean, they're not that bad. I mean, they become more reliable these days. On Honda. But I think I was hearing that Honda's dwindling on their quality a little bit, like the transmissions in particular. But I had a transmission die on a Honda Civic before. Okay, Mandela effect, something that you remember one way growing up, but now it has changed or different. For an example, candy bar, Kit Kat, or do you remember Kit Kat with the dash? Well, Mandela, it's hard to say an answer to that. Something that you remember one, yeah, I mean, I probably have. I would say, yeah, I mean, I experienced Mandela effect. I mean, I'll look for an example. What is your favorite decade you lived through? Well, like I say, I mean, if I'm going to have a favorite decade, my 80s. So 80s is definitely not my favorites, I'm telling you the truth. I think it was probably, maybe, if I'm going to have a favorite decade, it's probably going to be either this decade, this decade, or maybe 90s, or maybe 2000s, or 2010s. I would say. I mean, in all honesty, but I mean, if I was gonna have my say, I mean, I think 90s was kind of a fun year for me. Well, it's a fun decade, because well, 90s, not 90s was kind of a fun decade for me, but 80s, I mean, 80s decade. I mean, so that's my answer. I would say today's times, is my favorite decade. So, let me see. Korean brand. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I have to say that Kia has improved. It has really improved. My Kia has 85,000 miles on it right now, and I haven't had a single problem with it. Because for some cars are really badly made, and I've always heard about like transmission dying within 30,000 miles, or there's certain car brands where like the like major problems happen like really early in their lives, you know. Like I've heard about one car company like where the transmission died like 3 times within 100,000 miles, you know, that type of thing, you know, for some car brands, you know. But I'm trying to stay away from those, you know, like cars. I mean, I research buying cars and everything. Gilbert, your video on replacing a wheel bearing on the Eclipse saved me. Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that from you because, yeah, I'm glad that you have that to say because that is my goal. Like on any of those fix it videos, I'm trying to steer you guys away from mechanics that are dishonest because I hate dishonest mechanics, you know. And I don't like when they're not like how we call it like when they're not. I mean, lenient. You know, sometimes mechanics are not lenient. You know, like they're gonna charge for every little thing they do. You know. I mean, I don't like mechanics, you know, because I don't really like them. I don't like their dishonesty, you know. Shit, I've been through that. I mean, I'll tell you, shit. The air conditioners, I cannot fix air conditioners myself. So I take it to a mechanic, and all they did is screw me over, you know, like shit, you know, screw me over. Shit. Make bad experience with the mechanics. Remember those pump up shoes? Yeah, I remember those. I mean, I don't remember exactly when they came out or whatever, but I know I'm familiarized with those. Yeah, I never owned any or anything. What is your favorite car era? 80s, 90s, or 2000s? Well, if I'm gonna have my say, I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, not probably. I mean, like cars were made better in the '90s than they were today. Than some of them today. So I'd probably thinking. I mean, like what cars? I probably '90s. I mean, I like the '90s, but today's cars. I mean, I like the styling of today's cars, but I mean, they're dwindling. You know, the quality is dwindling on some of those ones. But the '90s cars, I mean, they were better made back then. Like some of the brands, they were better made. For an example, '90s Nissans. For an example, and Nissan was made better in the '90s back then than they are today. I mean, for an example, well, do I remember the storybooks at Bears, or was it the Berenstein? Well, I'm familiarized with this show. I mean, I've seen those shows in the recent months. So, do your kids have an interest in filming? No, they don't. My kids don't. They're not into that. They're just into whatever is in today. You know, like Facebook or not Facebook, but the YouTube. They're just into watching YouTube and you know like what kids do, what the trends of kids are, things like, or they just watch random stuff. You know, I mean they're into today's stuff. You know, phones. You know, having your own phone, tablets. My kids are not into making home videos at all. They're none at all. Hi, good Samuel. How do you feel about rap music? Well, I'm not really a fan of rap music. It's only the older stuff I like. It's only the older rap music I like, you know. I like most kinds of music during the 80s decade. But the 90s, I mean, I'm liking less music in the 90s than I do of the 80s, but some 90s music is pretty good too. But rap music in general, I really am not into it. It's just me though. Not that much into it, you know. Remember hyper collar shirts? Well, I'm not familiarized with those, but I know those crazy collared shirts, you know, like those neon collared shirts. Yeah, I remember that was like the days of the new wave. You know, remember that? coughing now. Had a con. Let me see. Okay, I'm trying to get the con. What's crackling? Hey, Jerry Leva. Hey, you finally showed up. Jerry Leva. What's your favorite 90s car? Well, 90s. We're going to talk about cars that I owned in the 90s. Well, I think the only cars that I really liked in the 90s was my Mazda, but that was a 1984 though. But 90s car, well, I had a what 90s car that I had? Well, if we're talking about cars that I had during the 90s, well, I had a Ford Taurus, and I liked that car, but it was a bad car though. And I liked it. If we're talking about what car I liked during the 90s, I liked the Honda Accord. I loved that car. I wanted one of those, but I never got one though. Honda Accord, 1993 particular. 1990 through 93. Those were really popular cars back then. Pogs, do I collect Pogs? No, I never did that. That's something I never did in my life. Pogs. Yeah, it's like these little disc things, like coin type discs. Yeah, I never did Pogs. Did you listen to NWA and did you see the movie Straight Outta? No, not really. Never seen those. Or I never listened to. No, I never saw those or heard them. Or Sugar Hill Gang. Well, yeah, it's like a record company, right? Well, I mean, I like their music, you know. Especially the song Breakdance from Sugar Hill Gang. I don't know. I don't know the exact artist, but the song, it was like the record company. Like it had like it had like a big, what do we call it? Like a licorice type thing, or like a candy cane type thing, and it's a rainbow colored tube. Yeah, Sugar Hill. Yeah, that's funny. Harry Potter well, I mean, farts. I'm not. I don't even do anything to do with Harry Potter. You know, I never listened to or I never heard. I never got into Harry Potter. I used to have a Mustang. Jerry Leva says I used to have a 1990, huh? Yeah, I remember those cars. They were what they called the Fox Body. The Fox Body cars. Like they were boxy cars, kind of. I remember those cars. Yeah, totally. Was it a boxy type car? I think they stopped making those going on to 1994 or something like that, or 93 or something like that. The last year that they made those boxy or the Fox Body, the Fox car. Anyway, I used to have a 9. Okay, let me see. Mini truck. Oh yeah, mini trucks. I mean, they were popular in the mid '80s. I tell you, and I have videos of my friends. You know. Hey Gilbert, who is your favorite '80s girl? Farrah Fawcett, Deanna Carter, Wonder Woman. Oh, Charlie's Angels, Three's Company. Feeling Which one stood out? Which one of these did I feel like stood out? It was probably, I did not particularly into those shows, but if I had to pick one, I would probably say, maybe Wonder Woman, I would say. I mean, if I had to pick one, I guess Wonder Woman, you know. That's good that you have a bunch of fats. Fat? Where? Fats? Or farts? I don't know. Do I have fats? I don't know. Well, anyway, I'm just being funny. Yup. Leva says yup. It was a sedan with the spoiler. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. It was a sedan. You know, well, they called those sedans. The block would split in half and made more than. Yeah. Oh yeah. Really. So yeah. 400. You should transfer all of your 80s and 90s videos. Well, I actually already did that, DVD. I put it on DVD. I did all that stuff already. I mean, I actually have them all digitalized. Do you realize how cool you are in 2000? Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much for commenting that. Yeah, I would say, why not? Yeah, it's fun to share my videos and stuff. It's fun to show what's unique. Like, very nice. Thank you very much. What's your favorite 80s TV show? What was my favorite? Well, I had that question earlier. My favorite 80s TV show, I mean, if it was a What's Happening, well, that's a 70s, but that's the only one that I really used to like. But I sort of liked Different Strokes. That's another show I can point out to. I liked Knight Rider and stuff like that. But I was never really that much into them. But but anyway, have you ever seen the 2017 It film? No, I never. I seen the 1990 one though. It was a crazy show. It was about the clown. It was like a clown. It was a crazy show. Sonny D. Claus or Cause to D. Cuz. Hey, dude. Hi, Sonny D. Cuz. I seen your videos with the mini trucks. Oh yeah, yeah. You know what? Like my Noe or my friend borrowed my camera that day to make a video for the mini trucks, the Whittier and stuff. Perfect wonder, DeCuz says. So, anyways, wonder how long I should be on this for. So, well, I think I probably should call it the day. But I'll call it the day. But I'm gonna make another live video again, like maybe later on tonight. For those of you who missed out on me or missed out on this, you get a chance. When you talk about dishonest mechanics, my mom had one. Yeah, shit. And he was trying to confiscate her, to replace a part by saying it's for your safety. And the mechanics always will do anything to try to make a quick dollar. They do anything they can, and I hate mechanics, and I hate their dishonesty. I mean, almost every mechanic I go to, I always get some form of dishonesty and shit. Fuck, I hate their shit. I mean, they're dishonesty. Almost every time. Almost every time, and I rarely take my car to a mechanic because I can do the work myself. I do everything myself, except for things that I cannot do, like such as air conditioners or certain things. But pretty much every time I go to a mechanic, I always have a case of them being dishonest, or I have a complaint about them. So, Guild, please look into Nathan Thompson's videos. Yeah, I think I may have seen those. The flat Earth, yeah. I never take my car. Well, that's good. I mean, it's nice when you don't ever have to take it to a mechanic, because it's just a bunch of rip-offs, and they're not lenient sometimes. Sometimes they're gonna overcharge for labor. Like I had a like one time, when I had to take my car. I had a Dodge Caravan one time, and I had to take it to get it fixed. I mean, I already knew what the problem was. It was the computer in this van. It was a computer in the van that gave up, and then it was a part that's next to the battery. next to the battery of the van, and literally takes like 20 minutes to take it out and put it back in. But I take it to them. I take it to them because I wanted to get their little expertise. Like they have their machines, and I just wanted to be sure. So I take it in, and then the guy was charging me $300 in labor to do that, to do the computer that takes only like 20 minutes to take out, and the computer was literally right there next to the battery, just a few bolts and it's off on a Dodge Caravan 2000. Shit, 2001 it was. It was a 2001 Dodge Caravan. Shit, that was a bad experience, and I got so pissed off at him for playing that shit on me, and so I got so pissed off for him being so dishonest about the labor that I did the BBB, the Better Business Bureau or BAR, Bureau of Automotive Repair. I had to call to them because he pissed me off, because he's charging me $300, to do this job, and about that was like, and then I asked because I needed a tow truck, so he called out a tow truck, or he had one of his own tow trucks or something, and towed my car, and then I was asking if that was including the towing, and then he said, oh, it's like $300, and I was wondering if it included the towing, and I asked him about it, and then he's all out there saying, "Oh, I forgot to add the towing charge. Okay, here you go, $350. You owe me $350." Oh, that he fucking pissed me off that day for playing that dishonesty shit with me. He pissed me off that day. Like to be charging me $300 that day for something that should have only been an hour's worth of labor. I mean, he had the nerve to go ahead and add the $50. He had the nerve to not at least let go, at least be lenient on the towing charges. Like using his own tow truck. Come on, like shit. Come on, man. You gotta be a little bit more lenient than that, like shit. Like being greed, like shit. Yeah, that was the worst experience I had. And so I did the bar, and at the end, he ended up giving me back like $180. He gave me back $180, and ever since then, that was it. I never came back to him again. Ever since that day. This was probably like 10 years ago. So, anyways, let me see. So was that sweet red 1980s car. Well, here you go. Here you go. That 1980s car. I have lots of videos of this. Nice. That's nice. Yeah. Do you think that mechanics is easy to learn for someone or wants to work on? Well, yeah. Well, it is and it isn't. But with today's technology, it's not too hard. It's not that hard. But the thing that's kind of like tricky is like being able to diagnose the problem yourself, or being able to learn how these mechanical parts or how the computers work, all the computer parts of the car work. That's the trick right there, you know. But to actually physically remove parts and do that's not hard to do. It's not that hard to physically do the removing of the parts, like such as radiators or brakes or like drive axles. That type. That's and it's not hard to do those. Were you ever a fan of PlayStation gaming console? Well, I never owned a PlayStation. It's only the Xbox that I owned. Yeah, it's only the Xbox. Gotta run, Gilbert. Thanks for your videos. Huh. You're very welcome. Yeah, thank you very much. Hell yeah. Yeah, here's my car again. I'll go in the inside too. I'm gonna get in the inside as well. Here's the inside of my car. Here's the car. I have to go on the other side. See, the paint on this car is actually pretty good. Yeah, nice, huh? Let me show this. The lights. My car. Well, well, anyways, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it the day, and I'll be back again. I'm gonna. I don't know if it maybe later on tonight, like so that way all of you will get a chance to have a question answered or something. Well, anyway, well, I guess I'm gonna call it the day, and I hope you guys liked this video and all that. Let's go inside. Oh yeah. Well, I should make a video that like you're a nice guy. Oh, thanks, man. Peace out. Yeah. Yeah, Jerry. I have to go that way. Whenever I'm trying to find a day that I can go that way. So, yeah. See y'all. Yeah. Well, see y'all. Yeah, thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Okay, I guess I'm gonna come. I'll be back though. I'm gonna maybe later on tonight. Or I'll go tomorrow because that way everybody will get a chance to ask me or talk to me or everybody who's interested in talking to me. Well, anyway, okay. I'll see y'all. Alrighty. Yeah.